Everyone, welcome to the Five-1 Speedway show. Again, I'm suffering a few technical glitches this side, but hopefully for the next one, after this one, it will be sorted out. Tonight, my guest is the first world champion on the show, and I'm so glad it's a British world champion as well. This guy has done so much in his career, from being world finalist to Grand Prix rider, to European Under-21 champion, and so much more. Hopefully we'll get a few more stories tonight as well. Please welcome to the show, Gary Havelock.
5-1.
5-1. Yeah.
Thanks for having us.
No worries, mate. No worries. So how's your 2020 been in this pandemic year?
I'll tell you what, I've never watched so much TV. I know that. It was weird because before, after New Year, I was like thinking, right, what am I going to do? January and February, I was miserable. I don't know what I'll do. I'll just hibernate. I'll just hunker down. I won't go out. I'll just try to spend as little as possible, and so I've done that in January and February, and then all of a sudden everyone got the mask. Everyone says, "Oh, you're gonna have to be locked in your houses for 3 months." Oh shit! So I was used to it. I'd already done 2 months when it started. You see, so I was up and running with it. What do we do? What have I done? So just before the lockdown, I flew over to France with the Poole squad to Matt's chateau, and we had like a few days over there, like team bonding and stuff, and sorting stuff out, which was really nice. And then it was just straight after that the lockdown happened, and as everyone else, locked down for the first 3 months, and then when it started easing up a bit, checked it all out. What it is, Matt, he has as do 95% of riders in this country, it seems like, have rent truck vehicles. A company called Rent Truck, which does the van hires. Nearly all the guys get in because he did such a good deal. Richard, he's called, and right, Richard, if you end up watching this, and Matt Ford has priced it up, and it's cheaper for him to run the van from England, drive it to France. The crew cab ones with the extra seats, so he can go to the airport and get people and stuff.
Yeah.
But I think he only keeps them for a year or 18 months or something, and then he flogs them. So Matt had this English van in France, and he had a brand new one in England waiting for him, but he just had to swap them over so long.
Yeah.
So I went out, drove the new one out to France, and stayed there a couple of days, and then drove the old one home. Dropped that off and Rent Truck, and did that little job for him. And that's it, basically. Yeah.
And then you've been stuck indoors ever since then.
Been stuck indoors ever since, but I've been trying to, rather than just watching crap on TV, I've been trying to expand my brain a bit. So I've been watching like a lot of documentaries and things like that. So,
okay.
Whether it's made me any more intelligent, I don't know, but probably know a lot of like irrelevant facts. Anyway, That's what I've been doing.
It's a bit like that for everyone, I think. Trying to find something to do, something to watch, and everything else in between, really. But obviously, looking ahead at what would have been the 2020 season, you were going to be Poole joint team manager, and everything. So, sort of, how did that sort of come about then?
Well, it sort of came a little bit out of the blue, really. But thinking about it, it's sort of logical. But Matt called me before Christmas. It was sort of end of 2019, and ran the idea past me. He said, "Look, now we're dropping into the Premier League." He said, "Midlow's not going to be able to do them all. His business is mainly Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So that's like Premier League days, isn't it?"
Yeah.
And, especially so, like the normal ones, like going up to Glasgow on a Saturday night or whatever the day they run down, going up to Edinburgh on a Friday night. You're also a long way from Poole. So Matt called me up and pitched me the idea of me being the sort of joint team manager and doing the away ones, and I was like, do you know what? I'd do it. And I pretty much said I'd do it before we'd even talked about money or anything. He's like, well, hang on a minute. I said, nah, I'll do it. I said, and tell Midlaw that, you know, Neil's one of my best friends. I love him to death. And, you know, I said, look, I don't want to be stamping on anyone's toes. So I tell Neil that he can still do any that he wants, even the way one, any the way he wants. If he wants to do them, he can do them. But the ones he doesn't want to do, I'll do the rest of them. And Matt was like, oh, yeah, that's great. And I actually called Midlaw up and said, look, don't worry, I'm not for your job until such a time as, you know, there's a job. But and he went, no, Harvey, he said, I can't. He said, if I had to share my job with anyone, I can't think of anyone better to share with than you. So I was like, that's nice. So the plan was to, do obviously probably a lot of the northern ones, but also to get as many of the other ones as I could, you know, via the spirit of grapevine sort of thing. It's not.
Yeah.
It wouldn't be financially viable for me to drive down to Poole on a Wednesday night for home match, and I'm not team managing. But you know, there's always like somebody's riding there who's going down, got a spare seat in the van, you know, meet someone, jump in the van and go. It's good like that, Speedway, you know.
Yeah.
It's such a small world. It's like that with engine and stuff, you know. Somebody will ask you, can you take an engine and so on, so on. Someone will pick it up from you there and you're like, yeah, go on, shove it in the back of the van. Because you know, next week, you might need an engine picked up from somewhere. And all the riders are pretty good like that, you know. So the plan was just to do all the ones that they wanted me to do and to get to as many new ones as I could, sort of thing, you know.
Yeah, that's good because obviously, like you said, it's a long way from Poole to anywhere up north and things like that. But it was good to see that.
Well, it's 317 miles from my front door to Poole Stadium. 317 miles. So then you've got going up to Edinburgh.
Yeah.
You're going to add another 180 plus on there, you know. It's a long way on a Friday.
Yeah. So it's a long way to go to a Friday and find the tracks underwater and everything else, and then you've got to turn around and come back again, you know.
Yeah.
But
which usually happens.
Yes, very true, very true. But like I said, it's good to see that you were getting yourself back involved in Speedway management or whatever it would have been.
Yeah, you know, like going back to the phone call, it was like, you know, I'd said yes to him. Like you said, if you asked Matt, he'd tell you before he'd even talked about money or anything, because I'd been sitting twiddling my thumbs for a while, you know, not doing much, and sit there and when there's British Speedway on, I look and I see these people who are getting paid to do something, and then you know, I see the GPs are on, and I see these other people who are getting paid to do certain things, and I think to myself, sure, there must be a job around for me in Speedway, and start, you know, like, you know, start feeling a bit sorry for yourself, and like for Matt to call, you know, for him to need a joint team manager go up with Midlaw. Let's say, for instance, he could have basically asked anybody in Speedway, and they pretty much would have said yes. Would have jumped to the chance, you know. It's like, you know, there's no ifs and ands about it, but you know, since the turn of the millennium, Poole have been the Man United, the Chelsea, whoever you want to call them, of Speedway, in the house. So for Matt, the first person to pick the phone up to me was like meant a lot. You know, it meant a lot. So that's why I said it yes before I even finished, because it was like, yeah, you know, Matt could have asked anybody, and he asked me. So
yeah, and you talk about
I shall say it was one of the easier decisions I've ever had to make about a job.
Well, that's good then. That's good to hear. But you say you talk about Poole since '99 when you went there. Well, so you went there in '98, but you were there for '99 when Matt took over. Ever since sort of then, bar probably 3 or 4 years, they've basically been in the playoffs or top of the league or whatever. You know, every year since. You know, but we'll come to Poole and your connection with Poole a bit later on. Well, we're going to start with how did it all start? Obviously, everyone knows that your dad rode. And was fairly good and successful. But did it sort of bug rub off on yourself then?
Oh God, yeah, absolutely. In fact, one of my earliest memories is seeing the Italjet that they bought me, 25cc Italjet, they bought me when I was 3 years old. You'd have to ask my parents. I don't know whether it was bought for Christmas or a birthday, or whether it was just one of them things. My dad had seen it somewhere and thought, oh, and bought it and brought it home, you know. But yeah, it was orange coloured. There's actually a picture of it on the back of one of my farewell meeting on the programme or something like that. One of the first earliest memories is walking from the living room into the hallway and seeing it there. I just like blow my mind. I always tell this story, but I don't even know if it was true or not, but I'm pretty sure it was. I'm pretty sure I could ride my motorbike before I could ride a push bike without stabilizers.
Whoa, that's pretty good.
Yeah. So, yes, from the age of 3, it was all about motorbikes. And then obviously started going to a lot of tracks with Dad from that sort of age as well. And whenever he could, he'd always throw my bike in. And I would get a go around, before the meeting. You didn't rent the track with little bikes like that, just rode around or at the interval or even at the end of the meeting, Sometimes I've even seen where we've gone and something's happened and my dad's had to rush off for some reason and I've ended up not even getting to go at all. But, such is life. And so I did. That was what I did from that until about the age of 7 or 8. I'll just go around with my dad and ride around the speedway tracks, around the garden. I mean, my parents didn't have a massive garden, but it was just big enough to ride a little tiny 25cc Italjet running around in the shape of a speedway track. So, and then about the age of about 7 or 8 was when I started doing, which was the big thing back in my area, which was the junior grass track scene.
Yeah.
I don't even know if it's still going now. If it is, I don't think it's. I think it's on its last knockings because of the junior speedway. They all seem to be in junior speedway, which back in our day, it was ride bumpy grass fields all of the year except for one meet in the summer. I was it early summer. We got to ride on Bellevue on the old track.
Very nice.
Yeah, and it was like after riding grass tracks, to go and ride on that, it was just like, oh my God, this is so easy. This is so easy. It's so smooth. The back wheel slides. It's so easy. Grass track. I want to be a speeder rider. It was. Grass track was a good thing because it got you in, learn to be alongside other bikes and to actually race as opposed to a lot of young lads who just ride round on their own, but I think if back then, if there had been a thriving junior speedway scene, I probably wouldn't have even bothered with junior grass track. But I'm not knocking grass track,
no,
because like I say, at the time it was a great a nursery for me to learn, to have other bikes around and to race. So I did that from about the age of 7 or 8, I think.
Yeah, like you said, it's back in those days. I mean, obviously, I'm down in Sussex, and obviously Kent and that lot back then were also thriving grass tracks. Obviously, you had the likes of, who would you have, like someone like Sean Wilson, Carl Stone, who were you riding against back then?
Let me try and go through the list.
You don't have to name all of them.
Olderish guys, you had like Simon Wigg, Simon Cross. I don't think Kelv did it. Simon Cross. Then you had our area, it was like Paul Thorpe, myself, Sean Wilson, Carl Stone, Mark Loram, Joe Screen.
So many you can name.
Some decent names there,
Yeah.
And it was great. Oh no! Saved it.
Yeah, saved the camera just.
That was a good save.
Yeah.
Hang on.
Yeah, no worries.
We got a bit lopsided. That's what it is. It's the leg.
Yeah. Don't worry,
Oh
folks. He's going to say,
no!
oh no.
So I'm trying to sort them all out with like only one decent working arm. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
Hey, we're
That's
back.
it. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah. So I did the junior grass track scene. I went through the classes because they have the classes, and I won 2 British championships. I won in 1981 in the intermediate class, which was I think about 12 to 14 or something, and 100, 150 cc's. That's right, 150 cc's. And then the next year, I could have actually stayed in the intermediates because I think I was like only 13 or something like that. But my dad said, I think we better go on up in the next class, get a more powerful bike. So I was like, yeah, I'll keep it. So they applied, and because I was British champion, they let me. So I went up in the next class, which was senior A. What was that? Up to, I think that was up to 15, 13 to 15, something like that. And 200 cc's. So I went up into that class. I actually won the British Championship in that class the first year.
Oh, yeah.
I was in it, and I shouldn't even have really been in it, if that makes sense. So then the next year, it was like I was coming up. I think I was 14, and I was like coming up. It was like either go up into the next class again, but I don't think the opposition was right cracking. I think that class, that senior A1, it was called. I think some places they only would get like 3 and 4 riders in the class, you know what I mean? Because it just wasn't the riders that I was. So I said to my dad, I said, oh, bollocks. Excuse English. I said, bollocks, we'll get some more parts. I'll build a bike. I'll build myself a Speedway bike. Because that was it. That was what was the final nail in the coffin. That's right. I remember I went to get my dad was riding for the Bears, I think. Yeah, the Tigers, Tayside Tigers, whatever they're called. And he was at Long Eaton. Because I remember going, I think I ended up mechanicking. I used to have a mechanic for him or one of the other guys, you know, because back then, Premier League away matches, the guys struggled for mechanics, especially midweek. So I took all my kit and that, and like, after the meeting, like, my dad had asked whoever was running it, like, if I could have a go. So we did load his bike up, and I said, like, went out on his bike. First time I'd ever been on a 500 like Speedway bike, and it was one of the old double overhead cam Jawas.
Oh, really?
The big ones with the and it was so powerful. It was like, and I remember sort of going out to the start line, but not doing the start, like tootling around the first and second corner, and sort of down the back straight, like whoa, and I like tootled, quarter throttle around the next corner. As I'm coming out the next corner, I've given it the big one. I've just gone wow. Inside my helmet, my head's exploded. It was like, is there anyone who's ever been on a 500cc speeder bike for the first time and wouldn't know what I mean? And I was like, yeah, that's it. I definitely don't want to do grass track anymore. I want to just get a speeder bike. Yeah, so that's what we've done. I got a speeder bike. I built up a bike, like old bits for my dad and like some new bits, and we got a. I think it was second hand, but it was a half decent Westlake engine. I can't even recall who got it off. Put that in it, and so that's what I did for that year. From being 14 going into 15, just rode around, tried everywhere. My dad went. We'd take a trailer, take my bike as well, and I'd try to get a ride in the interval after the meeting, and then. Because then you even had to be 16 to ride in the juniors.
Oh, right.
Yeah, you even had to be 16 to ride in the juniors. So what my dad done, when he applied for my license, he applied for it towards the end of 1984, right? Which would, hang on, this is doing me head in. I know it probably looks straight for you, but... towards the end of 1984, he applied for my license, and with my birthday being in November, my birthday is the 4th of November, my dad put down that my birthday was on the 4th of September.
Ah, okay.
He said, I will just try it. Like, next thing, the license comes through. happy days. Like, so I rode in quite a few junior meetings, junior events, which back then, even though it was called junior, would just a lot of the time were full up of just older guys. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But you had to be 16. So I even went to one that was the 1984 Suffolk Junior Open Championship at Mildenhall. I won it. Well, I was only 15 and shouldn't have been riding. I was riding illegally.
Yeah.
Bollocks to, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, if you get away with it, get away with it at the end of the day. Because
well, at the end of the day, right, they're not sending anything saying they want to see a birth certificate or like that. Well,
no, exactly.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, things have slightly changed since then, probably, but you know, it's
I think so. Yeah,
yeah. But no, it's good to hear that sort of thing because obviously, both yourself and your dad thought you were going to go places in the next couple of years that you needed to ride against those faster people.
Yeah, well, that was my dad's. That's whole thing. It's like once we've got to this level, there's no point hanging around at this level.
Yeah.
Once we've got to this level, I'll get to the next level and see how we get on there. You know.
Yeah,
and even from your
that
level, then.
Yeah, even from the old junior track. Yeah, so even from the junior grass track days, you're winning straight away national championships, and then obviously, like you say, then do that second half, which then obviously led to.
Believe it or not, when you say that, when I started junior grass track, I wasn't actually winning straight away.
Oh, okay.
When I started junior grass track, I was very, shouldn't say slight as a child. And once I went up into I think it was the junior class. No, when I went up from the junior class to the intermediate class, the extra power in the engine and that, I started going through a series of calamities.
Okay.
So I'd race through to the final of the day, and I'd make the start, and I'd be winning the final, especially on the rougher tracks. And I'd get to it started at anywhere, and then I'd get to 3 laps sometimes, and then I'd get to the last lap, and I'd end up having a big off.
Oh no!
I end up getting the tank, hit the bump, getting the tank slapped, and fucking spit myself off. So then I'd get to the stage where I would be hanging on until the last lap every time. And I remember the last bad crash I had, I knocked myself stupid in the head, you know what I mean? And I basically remember coming around to the hospital. I must have been all concussed and stuff. And my mum was getting really concerned. My mum was getting concerned to the point where she was seriously thinking of speaking to my dad about, stopping me doing it, for my own good. And my dad was like, can't have that. So I don't know how he found out or he knew, but he got this thing called a steering damper.
Okay.
Right? And what it was, you fastened it to the down tube of the frame one end, and then the other end fastened to the handlebars. And it had a damper inside it. So imagine if you were getting a tank slapper, instead of going bang, 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 you wouldn't allow that. We get a tank slapper.
Yeah.
And literally put that on, and I didn't crash. And then within a couple of weeks, there was this big one they have every year. Near where Stoney's from, in Manchester. They had one on this school field every year. And it was like billiard table. It was literally like riding a billiard table. It was amazing. And so not long after this, after the last big crash and the steering damper, I went to that, and I don't know if it was psychological or what, but I was like, all of a sudden there was this track which was like the in my head the only thing that was ever slowed me down was the track. Being too bumpy or being too this, and now all of a sudden I've got the ideal scenario set up on the bike and a billiard table track. So I'm just going to see exactly how fast I can go.
Yeah.
Literally I was just like full speedway, sliding like the full way around, and I weren't beating it. I'm not really big-headed because I don't think I'm a big-headed person, but I literally won every race by so far, and it was, and from then on it clicked, and from then on, I did have a lot of success.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Unfortunately,
so if it weren't for a steering damper, think of a steering damper, we might not be saying here. You never know.
Well, yeah, that's
You never
true.
know.
That's true. Funny way how these sort of things work out, really.
Yeah,
You
it
know,
is.
but
Yeah.
obviously, then in '85, you signed for Middlesbrough and had a
Yes.
couple of good years there, '85 and '86.
Yes.
I did a bit of research, and I think your first meeting was against Edinburgh. You
Okay,
know,
go on.
I think you scored. I think you scored like 4 and 1 that you were in reserve, something like
Okay.
that.
All right.
Something like that, which is again, it's a steady start to
Yeah.
what turned out to be
Yeah.
obviously a glittering career.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and what was sort of like your early memories of riding in '85 and '86 and for Middlesbrough?
Yeah. Well, back in '85 and '86, the track at Middlesbrough was, shall we say, substandard to the school playing field. I was on
Okay.
yeah, it was always bumpy and a bit rutty, and sometimes if going into turn 3, the track would wear away later on in the meeting, and you could see the old bricks.
Oh right.
The old bricks from what the track was originally laid with underneath.
Yeah.
So yeah, I probably bumbled along for a couple of weeks, getting like the 4s and 7s and the odd 2 and stuff. And I don't know whether it was my very first away meeting or first away league meeting. We went to Wimbledon.
Oh yes.
And I'd never seen the place before. And all of a sudden, we went out on parade, and it was like, whoa, look at this place. Hey, back to the school playing field scenario, you know what I mean? And I was going to say, right, let's see how fast we can really go. And when you put me on a decent bike on a track that's supposed to be how Speedway is supposed to be, you know, whether it's you've got a grippy track or whether you're running a slick track, right? The basics of it is the track is supposed to be smooth.
Exactly.
You know? We don't have suspension. We have a little bit on the front. We don't have no way suspension. If we're going to ride in a bumpy rough tracks, like, we should be on designing some sort of rear suspension. Okay, so the blueprint for the Speedway track is like a billiard table. So all of a sudden, I've been riding Middlesbrough all for 2 or 3 weeks. So after I might have been in Newcastle, which was just as bad. Then I went to Wimbledon, which was just like primo, not a ripple on the place. You know what I mean? Little bit of shale on, not too much, just the right amount. You know, because I think if you have too much shale as well, people always go on about, oh, they need more grip.
Yeah.
But, you know, if you have too much shale, too much grip on the track, the racing tends to be just as boring as if it's too slick.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, because it gets like one racing line out by the fence, and it's following me leader. So, yeah, I jumped on this. I've got this fantastic track, Wimbledon, and I think I was at reserve. I think I got, paid 14 or 15 from 6, something like that. And I remember them interviewing me. I think it might have been like Screen Sport or something back then. Remember? I don't know if you remember. Anyway, it wasn't like a TV, but it was a company that were filming it. So yeah, I always remember somebody showing me the interview years later, and it was like, guy asked me a question, you know, lasted about 6 seconds. I'd go, yes. And he's like, ask me another question, another 6, 8, 7, 8, 9, 10 seconds. No. It was like a rabbit in the headlights. It was funny as. Yeah, just to see how even just by whether it's on camera or in public, you know, I don't have too much problem standing up and public speaking, which you know, is all through my success in Speedway. That's all it's through. But yeah, it was funny.
Yeah, because I think I've got that meeting on DVD at Wimbledon.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and I think I vaguely remember watching it, and you scored double figures. I can't remember exactly what it was, but I think it was one of the penultimate meetings of the '85 season, because obviously Middlesbrough were on to win the league.
No, it was right at the beginning, mate.
I was right at the beginning of the year. Oh, right, okay. Well, then it might be a different one then, because I've got one of them which is that.
That's what I said. It was either my first away meeting of the season, or it was first away league meeting of the season.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
It was either or.
Yeah.
So it would have been late March or early April for sure.
Yeah. It might have been that then, because I've got it on DVD, but I can't remember off the top of my head what it is, when it was. But obviously that first year, as I said, was almost a league title successful year for yourself for Middlesbrough in '85.
I know, we got so
Came so close.
Yeah.
Because of course I got when you came down to Eastbourne towards the end of the year in '85. Obviously then with Gordon Kennett, Martin Dugo coming through, and everyone like that, you know. And I think not to say, because obviously I'm an Eastbourne fan.
Hell was a hard place to come in them days, I tell you.
Yeah. Because obviously then it was the old
did
shape.
I do?
Yeah. I don't know. I think you might have got. I think you got like maybe 6 or 7, something like that, maybe.
Okay.
And then
But I wouldn't have been if it was the end of the season. If it was the end of the season, I wouldn't have been. I'd have been up in the team.
Yeah, you were. Yeah. I don't think you were like a heat lead. I think you were like a second string, something like that, 2 or 4.
Yes.
Something like that.
Yeah. Well, that's what you find. Like when I started off at reserve, it was like, I first race. Like you're pretty much guaranteed a win in your first ride. Come in, you know, your bike's clean. Everything's good when you first ride in speed. Everything's good, and you know, and then I'd be getting extra rides as well, and you know, everywhere I went away, I'm actually guaranteed I'd get 6 rides, and you know, banging some decent scores, and all of a sudden you're in a team, and then you're only getting 4 rides. You know?
Yeah.
It's like, okay, but. And you're riding, obviously, your rides are harder as well because you're not starting off that you make in that heat too. That sort of the easy race, if you like.
Yeah. And also there were the days also, weren't they, when you could switch gate positions and stuff like that as well. So,
oh yes,
you know.
and there were also the days when you had to team ride. You certainly had to make an effort to be team riding. So, in their infinite wisdom. Back in the day, part of team riding and team bonding meant that the better riders said, "I'm having gate 1."
Yeah.
So you got the shit gate every time, and you just had to deal with it. But as part of it, because as I got better and better, then I got to the point where I got to be a number 1, you know. And then they've thought, I know what to do. We'll save ourselves a bit of money. We'll switch the gates around so the number 1s go off the outside in heat 1.
Yeah, give you the easy gates.
Everybody knows it.
Yeah, that's it. But then that sort of thing can also work in your favour because obviously it builds how you can sort of come from the back and choose your lines and that sort of thing as well.
No, because you can't really come from the back in heat 1.
True. Yeah.
Normally in heat 1. On a normally properly prepared spinner track, all the shields on the inside, so the guys are out in front there. There's a guy behind him, he's trying to go around him, right? And the other guy's tucked in between him. So what are you going to do? Go wide, you get sprayed shit off all 3 of them.
Yeah.
We're talking about the days before the dirt deflectors.
Exactly.
When men were men.
Yeah.
You know, all you could do, you know, as a number 1 in heat 1, you know, if the other number 1 gated on you, you could do 1 or 2 things. I would just chuck in behind him and hope that he made a start, which he invariably never, because he was a number 1.
Yeah.
Or try and go around and get filled full of shit and risk the other guys coming past you. And basically you just chucked in because it was 8-1. That's what it was, you know.
Yeah. Good old days of Speedway. I still think they were the sort of the good old days. But
yeah, well,
yeah.
I think looking back, I think there's good old days and there's good old days. There's good old days, and like, unfortunately, I was at the pinnacle of my career and my earning potential at the worst time probably in Speedway history to be at that pinnacle. If I'd have been 10 years earlier, I'd have been in the Iron and Ollie sort of era, earning potential. And if I was 10 years later, I'd have been in the modern era earning potential. But hey ho. Oh no, we tell you just started.
Oh, no worries.
I put it on pause and it's just started for sure. Yeah, you know, like the Murphys, I'm not bitter. I'd rather be good then and not at all, you know. So.
Yeah, exactly. But obviously you had those 2 good years at Middlesbrough, your learning curve pretty much. You went to Bradford also in '86, and then did a long stint with the Dukes. So how did that sort of first come about then that you were going to go to Bradford?
Oh, we probably started halfway through the season for '86. My dad was like, "Oh, I think we've got to need to go British League next year," and I was like, "Yeah, definitely." And so we were we were having a look around and think around, and we really wanted to go for a big track, you know. Because at the time, nearly all of the World Championship between FIM events were held, you know, out in Germany, in Poland, in Czech, you know, which are nearly all big fast tracks. So, you know, there is it might be hard to say to your just average fan, but to ride a small tight track really fast, it takes a completely different technique than to ride a big fast track really fast. So the thing to do was we wanted a big fast home track so that I could hone my skills week in, week out on it. And you know, to be honest, Bradford ticked all the boxes for that. You know, it was a big fast track. It was already running FIM events because it had the world final on at the end of '85. And you know, we did talk to them, and it was like, yeah, what we're going to do, let's do it. So I went down it's called number 8 back in them days, and you could have a young British lad from the league below, so that if somebody was out injured and they couldn't do our half for them or something, you could use a number 8, and there's a bit of number 8 in for them in '86 towards the end of the season. I couldn't tell you how many I did, but then signed for them full stop, sort of the end of the '86 season, starting in for '85, '86, '87.
'87.
Started at the beginning of '87,
Yeah. And obviously that was under, wasn't it, the Alan Ham promotion
it was
as well?
The Ham brothers, the Ham brothers, yes.
Yeah.
And you know, it was. It was good. It was great. You know, to be honest, there was a couple of things that happened towards the end of my time at Bradford, and a couple of things that have happened since that I've found out about, which sort of tint it a little bit. But to be on the whole, you know, I cried when the day it was closed. You know, to me, it was the best stadium. It had the best track. It had the best pits. It had the best changing rooms. It was just. It was only an hour and a bit from my house. It was just. It was fantastic. And my 10 years there, you know, some of the riders who I rode with over the years, and I made some really good, fantastic lifelong friends and stuff, you know. So,
brilliant times, I can imagine. Obviously, I went there for the first time, only time so far, is to when it was the Grand Prix in '97 as a 7-year-old kid going there.
The Brian one.
The one Brian one. Yeah, the one that
I was doing the Roving Mike pit interviews.
Yes,
Sky,
I remember that.
Yeah.
With the old long hair, curly hair, and everything.
The long hair. I think they had like these snakeskin freaking jeans or something like that on, or weird looking PVC plastic ones or something. I always tried to look a bit wacky, you know.
Yeah.
And I wonder where Mr. Nichols has got that from, eh?
I wonder where that first started, because
I used to wear little glasses as well. I used to wear daft little glasses, pink lenses and that sometimes.
Yeah.
Ooh, I wonder where they've got that from.
Who knows how many years later that you're a trendsetter. You know, that's what it was. But I mean, so from what I remember, that was a great meeting anyway. Obviously, everyone thought Mark was going to win it.
There was Bradford was such a good racetrack that, and I usually find with any era, you know, any sort of group of top lads, you know, you get all the top lads together in the world, right? And you give them a proper racetrack, right, which is prepared properly, and you'll get fucking fireworks.
Yeah,
it's as simple as that. And I'm a massive believer in that. And you know, so Bradford being such a good track that it was, I think the '85 World Final and the '90 World Final were both phenomenal.
Yeah,
passing and racing and shit. And I guess as that was, I think the World Team Cup was as well there, the one that Eric got injured in.
Yeah.
You know, so again, just the fact that Bradford was a great track, you know. I'd like to try and explain the track a little bit to people, because even if you've never been, it was sort of hard to know. So it was wide, really wide. 300 riders like width, because if you get into trouble in the bends, you pick up, you know, the fence isn't like a foot away.
Yeah.
You got a bit of room to make a mistake and or get out one. You know, it was banked. Okay, so to me, every great racetrack is a banked one. So the problem is though, not only tracks that have banking, they have what's called off camber.
Yeah.
So they'll be banked, whatever slight, but then you'll get 2, 3, 4 from the fence. It'll go like that. It's flat.
Yeah.
And you get a rider, once he gets over that, he's done for.
Yeah.
So off camber wasn't the greatest. So you're going from Bradford from the start into the turns 1 and 2, big wide racetrack, banking, just a gradual bank on turns 1 and 2. But they did have about 4 foot of off camber. So turns
really?
1 and 2, you could only ride, turns 1 and 2, you could only ride like so wide.
Yeah.
But come to turns 3 and 4, right? Now they were banked, that was banked all the way from the curb, all the way at the bottom of the fence. And also, I'm going to tell you how steep it was. Here's an example. Like, if you were stood down on the inside line, on the curb, of turn 3 and 4, Bradford, right, and you were facing the fence, the bottom of the fence would be about 3 foot above your head.
Jeez, that is what you call proper banking.
So banking and banked all the way to the fence. So people, wage riders used to come and they used to think they were riding wide. And like me and Sean Wilson, we cut our handlebars down, especially Bradford handlebars. We cut like 2 inches off the end of each end. So they were really narrow, and people think they were riding the fence, and we just fly around them because the track was there. We were confident that what was there was going to pull you around, and it did. Yeah, that was Bradford.
Yeah. And obviously with all this news of, obviously it looks like stock cars are returning to Bradford, and hopefully Speedway will turn maybe next year, if not 2022, is obviously positive news, really, for Speedway.
Oh, look, don't make me be the bearer, like sound like a dumbmonger or anything, but if it happens, it will be fantastic news for Bradford and the area. But it's still a big if to me. I don't know whether you've been to Bradford Stadium lately.
I haven't, no, because it's obviously a long way from home.
10 years ago or anything like that.
No, I haven't.
Okay, no. So I went there about 10 years ago, right? And the guy who was the caretaker was still there, and he recognised me.
Right.
And he let me, I was in my van with my white van with my number plate on. I've got to have a number plate that says H4VVY, so it's pretty much like Harry.
Yeah.
And there was some junior rugby match or something going on, and he actually let me go in and drive down where the pits used to be and that. And so I drove all the way down to where the tractors used to be parked.
Yeah.
The riders used to walk in at the end there. So I was down there, right? So I walked out onto the track. The track's still there. The curb's still there.
Yeah.
But the track's made of tarmac. The underneath made of tarmac, obviously.
Yeah.
So, but the perfect space is there to put a track on now. But the big problem for me is that where the pits used to be, they've now built a gigantic building.
Yeah, I know.
Right?
I've seen the photos for that.
And it sticks out. It sticks out over turns 3 and 4.
Oh, okay.
So, to me, there's only 3 things you could do, right? One would be knock the building down or move it, right? Massive expense, right?
Yeah.
And this thing was put up for all, like your prawn sandwich brigade.
Yeah.
It was put up. Well, if you can do it, why not?
Yeah.
You know, it was put up to get the big money. Okay,
Yeah.
so I'm not going to really rip that down, right? Number 2 is dig into the terracing on turn 1 and 2.
Right. Yeah. Okay.
About 20, 30 meters, right? And move the whole fucking thing, track, rugby pitch, fucking everything.
Yeah.
20 meters further that way, right? Massive expense. Or 3, ride underneath the building.
Yeah.
And in these crazy days of health and safety, I can't see how they're going to do it.
Yeah, because I think I remember reading. I don't know. I think Tony Moll put it in for the application.
Probably this must be about the 5th time in the last 10 years that it's come out and think, "Oh, Bradford Speedway, I'm going to be back at Bradford." And every time I've gone, Not without massive expense, it's not.
Yeah.
Like I say, don't get me the one who's knocking or doubting or anyone, but it's going to happen. It's going to whoever's getting it up and running, going to have to put some big money in.
Yeah, because it's a stock car. I can't remember what his name is, but he's put in a lot of
Yeah,
money
well, let me
into.
think, right? Now, when I stood there looking at it, I was thinking, shit, if I was riding Speedway bike under there, you definitely couldn't drive a stock car under there. You know what I mean?
Yeah. But we just have to wait. We just have to wait and see what happens. But even the news and the sort of buzz around it is still some sort of positive news in what's been a rubbish year.
That's why I'm like this. I don't want the people of Bradford that don't deserve it. They've had so many false hopes.
Yeah.
I don't want them getting the hopes up too high. Only for it to be another pie in the sky. I hope it's not. Hope and pray that it's not. But who knows in this world, crazy world that we live in.
yeah. But anyway, looking back at obviously you said you spent 10 years with Bradford and everything, and you won so much in between in that time. And just looking at it on my list, sort of like the first sort of thing would have been obviously British under-21 champion '86, winning that.
Yes, I was still at Middlesbrough then.
Yeah, I think I was at Stoke that night. I think I'm right. I was at Stoke.
It was at Stoke because the year before when I was 17. The year before when I was 16, I won their big meeting, the Pride of the Potteries.
Yeah.
Oh no,
that's very good then.
My phone just said low battery.
Right then, so after all those unfortunate technical issues we've just suffered, we're back and everything. We were talking about the '86 British Under-21 final, which you won at Stoke. Do you remember much about that sort of meeting?
Yeah, I do. Yeah, I've seen it back a few times on video actually, and I remember because up to then it was back in our days we didn't have Google and stuff like that, so you got your information from the Speedway Star, Speedway Star every week. You know what I mean? Read it cover to cover, and during the '85 season and certainly into '86, I see this lad always in there, right? Like long blonde hair, looks like a bit of a player by Andrew Silver, right?
Oh yeah.
And I'm thinking, this fucking southern prick, you know what I mean? Blah blah blah, and it was one of them. I didn't like him. I didn't met him. And funny enough, he said he was going through exactly the same symptoms that I was looking at Spirit Star, so like northern upstart, So anyway, it sort of all came to a head at Stoke, and with no disrespect to the rest of the field, it rained as well, so it was one of them. It started a little bit greasy, but then it got grippier and grippier and grippier. You know what I mean? Yeah. So you have to have a fairly large set of gentleman's vegetables, you know what I mean, to get in there. And it was only going to be me and Andrew, and as it happens, that's exactly what it was. I won it with 15, and he comes second with 14. I think Clash might have been the third or the fourth ride, but I was on the inside. I can't remember. I was on either one or two, but he was on either three or four. We got to the first corner and he was trying to lean on me, but he didn't quite lean enough. He was trying to bully me, and I was like, I wasn't it. So we boxed like that. And I would turn and went on the inside, and he went right on the outside. And coming off down the back straight, we come together again, halfway down the straight. He's trying to come across the field. I'm like, fucking elbows all the way down the straight. Just managed to get into the corner in front of him and went onto the dirt line, and then I was away then. But it was certainly a hectic lap. And the strangest thing was that that November we were both in Australia, and we ended up basically sort of stood next to each other, and I was like, "Right, hi mate." And he's like, "All right," and then like said so, and we ended up at a party or something, and it was like, "You got to be here." And then next thing we know, we got talking, and next thing we know, it was weird because we were pissing ourselves laughing. We were both hating each other. We didn't even know each other. Just what we'd resonate in the Spirit Star. Actually, turns out that we had an awful lot in common, and we're still really good friends to this day.
Yeah, because I think it was yourself, Andrew, and again I refer back to Martin Dugard also coming through,
Yeah,
And then
yeah,
obviously
yeah,
not long after that, you had Mark Laram coming through the system. So
yeah, sure.
you had a
Chris
lot of
Louis.
Chris Louis, and a lot of the obviously the
Mm-hmm.
guys that I grew up watching, including yourself, be battling it out at such a young age. It was such a good thing to look back on, anyway.
Oh God, yeah, absolutely. And if you look through, you looked up through the trophy and then under 21. It's the same with the European under 21. I suppose they've got a new trophy now. They've changed the name, but that's just typical Marlock and Speedway as well. Wasn't it? It's like the year after I won the European under 21, which was in effect the world under 21 because you had Australians and Yanks and fucking every man Timbuktu, and the year after I won it, they changed it to the world under 21s. Missed out on the world medal there, but I always tell people it's the same competition, but you look down the list of people who've won that, and it's like, wow, some good riders. You know what I mean? So even when you look down the British under 21 list, you know.
Oh yeah.
But again, back in our day, once you'd won it, you weren't allowed to go in it again.
Oh, okay. I didn't realise that.
Same with the world same with the European under 21. If you won it, even if you were 17, well, I did. I won the British under 21. And imagine that I would have had another November. I would have had another 4 pops at that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
If it was this day and age, you know.
Yeah.
You say like instead win it like 3 times or something.
Yeah, exactly.
Now they've won it multiple times, haven't they? Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, you look at the World Under 21 final now. It's obviously you got Emil Dwight done it twice, Darcy done it twice, and people like that.
Exactly,
so and obviously when you won it, I think it was wasn't it Zielona you won it in Poland in '87.
Zielona it was indeed. Yes.
I think
87. Also, Sean Wilson was third.
Yeah, I was about to say because Sean was third. Yeah. So was that your sort of first taste of going to Poland and into Europe, riding in Europe then?
Yes, it was. Yeah. Well, it wasn't the first taste of into Europe. Hello. Oh,
good.
I missed the top of my head. We're missing the top of my head here, aren't we?
That's right.
In '86, I didn't start. Tell a lie. Apart from going to Australia and that, I did one full England test match. It was. I think that was in. No, I can't have been. No, that was more like 88, 87. No, I'm lying. Yeah, so it was my first taste of international racing, apart from Australia.
Yeah.
Was going on the qualifying rounds. So we did Outrup in Denmark in '87. Then I think the semi was in Germany, big round track. Somewhere in Germany, right?
Yeah.
And then the final was was at Zielona. Yes.
Yeah, I remember it was an experience in itself.
Squeeze it through the first qualifying round at Outrup. I've never seen a track as slick about in my life. It was like we were putting water in the vessel and everything, just trying to get the bike to slow down a bit. It was just ridiculous. I think I scraped in with about 8 or something like that, 8 points. The semi-final, I did a lot better. I think I would have done how many I would have got, but I think that track now was doing headed otherwise. Yeah, and then the final was it was good because we doubled up as well. It was like me and my dad, John Wilson and his dad doubled up in a van. So it was brilliant. We had a right laugh. We had a proper laugh.
Yeah, I can imagine saying a nice little drive back as well.
Well, to be fair, yeah, back then you think, oh my God, it's pouring. But now, I'd drive to Zielona in a heartbeat. It's like nowhere. It's like Eastern Germany.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? When I signed for Zhezhov, right?
Yeah.
It's probably a lot better now, but when I signed for Zhezhov, right? When you go through the border, like Zielona is like half an hour away, something like that, right? Zhezhov was 9 hours. Another 9 hours drive.
That's a long way.
Just in Poland. Yeah, it is. Zielona doesn't look so far then, does it?
No, it doesn't, no.
You know what I mean?
No, but it's good to hear, and obviously,
it was good.
Yeah, it's good.
Go
It's
on.
good. It's good to hear and everything, obviously, because obviously Poland's changed drastically since those days and
Oh yeah,
everything. So,
yeah, God, yeah.
but between sort of like you winning in '87, did you ever go back out to Poland before you went to the Polish league then? Too?
No, I
No,
wouldn't have done. I don't think.
no,
No, I don't think I would have done.
no.
No,
Because on my notes,
because I've Gorzov.
yeah, Gorzov. About to say that. Yeah, '92 was when you went to
Mm.
Gorzov for
Yeah,
done your first Polish league
yeah,
season.
yeah,
So,
yeah.
was that on the back of Peter Collins helping you get a club, or is that just they approached you sort of thing?
No.
No.
Yeah, I think they approached. I think they just approached me. Yeah,
Mm.
and it was weird because the first meeting I'd done there, I was they were riding against Torren.
Oh yes.
And at the time, Torren was Per Jonsson and Henke Gustafsson.
Hmm.
Right, and the pair of them had been riding out in Poland. I think it was like the second or third season. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I turned up there, sent a bike over, and like I flew with the engine, bought the engine and everything, and I think I got paid 10
Oh, that's
from
good.
5.
Mm.
Yeah, and but we lost at home. We lost by 2 points, and
Oh.
so after the meeting and everything, I've like got changed and everything. I said, right, I'll go and start finding me money. It's back in them days, you could pay cash. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
And so I was like, I couldn't find me money, and went upstairs. Like I'm walking there, feeling all like this, right? And I was like the boss, and then these two old blokes all in suits and that. And I get there. What the fuck was that today? Finger in the chest. Like what? We signed you to score maximums. Henrik Gustafsson and Per Jonsson got maximums, and you didn't. And we lost. It's all your fault. And I was like,
Whoa.
oh, okay, like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I learned quite a harsh lesson early on.
Mm. Yeah. I think
That's what it's like. It was nuts.
yeah, I think they must have forgotten there were 6 other blokes in the team, sort of thing. It's not necessarily down to one rider.
No. But that's the mentality, and unfortunately, I believe that the Poles still have a very strange mentality when it comes to one speedway. You know,
Yeah.
it's almost like it's a religion for them. It's like it's like death. It's like glory or die. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like
Yeah.
Jesus Christ, lad! It's a sporting event. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
Some of the stories I could tell you that I can't tell you.
Yeah. Yeah. We don't want to get you in any trouble now.
Nah, I've paid enough for that every time.
Yeah. Yeah. But coming back, obviously, back up to these shores, a bit more, obviously, individual success for yourself. Again, while still at Bradford, was winning the British final, your first one in 1991. Must have been a huge thing for yourself as you've won at schoolboy on 21 and now obviously senior level at that time.
It was a massive thing, you know. I remember, I'm probably from a slightly different era from you, but I remember growing up as a kid watching World of Sport with Dickie Davis on Saturday
Yeah.
afternoon. They'd be like, "Oh, we're going over to the British final, or the British final, or what." You got to watch a lot of the British finals, and then you get they're always on Sunday afternoon.
Yeah.
In Coventry, back when the old Coventry was proper Coventry, you know, before
Yeah.
the track up stupid long straights and tight corners.
Yep. Yep.
The old Coventry track was mega, and it was always like there was always talk that after the world final, the British final was like the biggest, the hardest thing to win.
Yeah.
I think that talk probably more came from the days of like Peter Collins and people like that, because they even used to let like Aussies and Kiwis that in it, didn't they?
Yeah, they did.
And
Yeah.
it'd be hard enough trying to win the British final, race against freaking Barry Briggs and I was an age, you know what I mean? So I think I think that sort of saying probably came from that era, but because that was the saying that I grew up with, like the British finals, the second hardest meeting to win. You know, it was the British final, the World Final, the British final. The other one was the League Riders Championship.
Yeah.
You know, with all the number ones in.
Yeah.
Them were the three that they always used to say, and in the year before, in 1990, I had quite a good go at it. I think I had 10 from my first 4. But then I fell apart like a cheap Polish watch. I mean, I ended up about 5th, something like that. But it was good to know that I could put myself in a position where I would be feeling that much stress anyway.
Yeah.
Because I must have been doing something right. So I just thought, just do what you're doing. And it was sort of the same the next year. But I had 12 from before the next year. And I thought, well, just keep doing what you're doing. And gladly, I never fell apart. I kept it together. So,
yeah.
And winning the British final with 10,000 people practicing recovery on a warm, sunny afternoon in May, just phenomenal. I don't think them days will ever be back again. Sound like an old man again. Back in my day. But
well, it was a tough time
I
back
would
then.
I would argue with anyone that the British finals were proper back in the day on a Sunday afternoon at Coventry.
Yeah, because in 1990, you went through to the overseas final. And you got knocked out of the overseas final. I think
wasn't that at Bradford?
No, the overseas final in 1990, because 1990 actually Bradford had the world final.
Okay.
And then I think you got to the overseas final and you got knocked out after you had a run off with I think three other guys. I think it was for either reserve or the last qualifying spot.
Yeah.
So even then it must have been an eye opener to yourself to sort of say, okay, this is the worst case scenario now, sort of thing.
Yeah, absolutely. Back in them days, you couldn't have a bad meeting. You could have a bad ride and still get yourself 9 or 10 with the other 4 or more and qualify still. But you couldn't have a bad meeting, Whereas in the GP format, you can have not so much a bad meeting, but you can have the more rounds they are, put that way, the more chance you got. And people say to me, do you think the old way was better, the old 1-4 finals? And I'm like, to be honest, they've both got really good pluses and they've both got minuses, unfortunately. But I wouldn't say either one was better than the other. I think the Grand Prix will definitely get you a true world champion over the season. Necessarily, but having said that, I think the year I was world champion, I'll have money on the table with anyone that, even if it would have been Grand Prix, I'd have won it or I'll come second. I think myself and Pig Hansen were so much above everybody else that year that I think even if it had been Grand Prix format, I think we'd have still been first and second.
Yeah, I'd agree with that completely.
So I love the Grand Prix. Don't get me wrong. I love the razzmatazz. I love it that we're going to these big cities and throwing a track in. It's fantastic. And long may they carry on.
Yeah. I mean, are you a bit gutted that you didn't ever manage to get to ride at Cardiff?
Yes and no. Yes and no. I think if I'd have got to ride at Cardiff, I think I'd have rode well because I was the type of person that could the more that was on it, the bigger the pressure, the better I was able to apply myself.
Yeah.
And I think walking out on parade at Cardiff and getting 60,000 people in air horns going I think it would have pressed all my right buttons for sure. But such is life.
Yeah, but the closest you got to Cardiff was obviously being on the old Sky TV, being the pundit and things like that. And obviously, I think one year you was a commentator as well on the Red Button and things like that. I remember that one.
Yeah. What do you remember that? What it was, the producer guy said, why don't we get someone else? Like, what do you make who's funny? And I was like, funny. I'm like, Carl Stone, he's a funny fucker. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I said, I could get a story like that. He said, right, what you've got? He said, like on football, you go interactive.
Yeah.
And you can listen to the two fans doing the commentary instead of the commentators. It was basically like that, so people could press the button. And instead of listening to Millard and Tatum, they could listen to me and Calstonia.
Yeah.
And what a laugh! What a laugh! He said, I keep getting trays of beers brought up together. He said, That's what the producer said.
All
Basically,
right.
he was giving us a microphone. Basically, he was giving us a microphone and saying, "Get pissed and talk about Speedway." We were like,
Yeah.
"Well, hey, all right, man." No, it's all right. With me and Sean Wilson.
Yeah.
Sean Wilson had his cradle thing on. He had a broken neck, and we
Yeah.
got Carl Stonier in. We just dragged him in.
Mm.
He was seeing him somewhere and dragged him in and do a bit.
Yeah, because I think I remember right. Also, you had Dean Barker there as well. I think was another one was part of that
Yeah, we
crew there.
dragged all sorts of. We dragged
Yeah.
all sorts of. What's the word I'm looking for? People in there.
Yeah, exactly.
Reprobates was the word.
Yeah.
Yeah, because Dino's mate was going on with that model at the time.
Yeah, I can't remember who it was,
Yeah.
but it was. I think it was because I kept cutting to you from Keith in the studio every time. I
Did
think
you?
it was,
Yeah.
every time it was a different person on the commentary team. It was quite funny to watch, but but again, that's what made Cardiff a bit special, wasn't it? It had to have something different on the TV, but
absolutely.
yeah.
But I think everyone I talked to who switched on said we were fabulous and like proper laugh. You know what I mean? But I don't know if the producers saw it that way because we didn't want it. We didn't get us to do it again. And I don't. From what I can gather, nobody else is doing that sort of thing. You know?
No, they haven't. No, not to my knowledge, anyway. But yeah, looking back at obviously again '92, you managed to win the British Championship again, which must have been again great to do it back to back. Such a hard thing to do, you know. But,
it was lovely. It really was lovely. But again, talking about I'm the type of person that's like once we've won something, right? Come on, let's move on. So it was fantastic to win it again the second time. But if I'd lost that run off of Martin, I wouldn't have been really that arsed because British what Lionel was what I was looking for. Now I was British champion. I wanted to be world champion. You know what I mean? And everyone was eyes on that. And firstly, the only way you can be world champion is to qualify for the world final.
Yeah, exactly.
So, you know, like say the second year it was lovely, but I was more focused on just qualifying.
Yeah, because obviously then after that would it have been the Commonwealth final would have been next, wouldn't it, or was it the overseas final?
It was Commonwealth next, and I top scored. I think I won the British. Did I win the British semi? I think I won the British semi.
Yeah, I think you did. Yeah,
I won the British. Then I won the British final, and then top scored in the Commonwealth.
Yep.
Came third in a runoff, lost the runoff, but still equal top scorer. Then won the overseas, and then equal top scorer in the semi final.
Yep.
Bradford per moving. Pass me the wanker.
On your home track.
I'm a home track, exactly. That really bothered me for a long time, I'll tell you, mate. If you do see this Per, peace, brother.
Yeah.
What a great guy he is, you know. I didn't even know him when we were racing. We just like, all right, mate, in the pits. It wasn't until after he got injured that I got to know him, but but yeah, like I say, I top scored in every single round I rode in that year. So that's why I say, even if it had been a Grand Prix, I think I would have been, you know, right up there.
Yeah, you would have been, I think, you know, because again, the consistency just shows it from just the qualifying rounds more than anything, you know, to, like I said, not be out in the top three, you know. And obviously all the rides headed to Wrocław, you know, for the final, on one of probably the weirdest nights ever in world final history, where it absolutely rained hard after 6 or 7 races.
First the horse went spastic, then decided they were going to do a parade with the horses and carts. One of the fucking horses went spastic and did like booked a rear and went wild and like had to catch it. And like, somebody fell off the chariot and with the right fuck about, and then it rained after about a few heats.
Yeah, I mean,
and then an hour and a half later, we got on with it.
Yeah, because didn't they have to pump the track off with the fire engine or something like that?
Literally. If you can imagine a track that's sort of slightly banked, which Wrocław had a bit of banking, not very much, but the water was from the curb, out to about 3/4 of the track, was like a lake, both ends.
Yeah.
And they were like, we're calling in the fire brigade. We called in the fire brigade, right? They had one wagon, one fire engine each end, just pumping all these gallons of water off the track onto the centre green.
Yeah.
And then it got that done, and it went out grading for however long it was. And I think all in all, it was like an hour and a half, and we were away again. But during that time, I had a couple of riders come around to me saying, "Oh, should we just get them to call it off? We'll come back and do it all again tomorrow." And I was like, "Fuck that!"
No.
I'd already won. In my eyes, I'd already won my hardest ride. My hardest ride was my first one against Per.
Yeah.
And I'd won it, and he'd come last. Why the fuck would I want to start again? You know?
Exactly. Because wasn't it
So
you
I was like,
one off gate 4?
Off gate 4, yeah.
Yeah. Exactly.
and before the rain, gate 4 was like a massive advantage because gates 1, 2, and 3 were like quite hard, so slick, you know.
Yeah.
And gate 4, where the fence is, it sort of shaded half of gate 4 from the sun.
Okay.
From drying out, you know. So it was like really soft and moist. Yeah. So the other guys were going off like concrete, and I was going off this really soft. If you look, I think every race from heat 1 until heat 8, when the rain come down, every race, if they didn't win it for that race off gate 4, certainly made the start and got past.
Yeah.
So, you know, because at the time when I heard the draw, I was like, "Fuck, heat 2, gate 4, fucking nightmare." It's like, you know what I mean? Normally, heats 1 and 2 sort of. There's no dirt line developed, so you got to make an absolute belter to get across everybody. So I was like, fuck. And I was like, stop stressing. There's no point stressing because you can't do that about it. You don't even know what the track's like. You know what I mean? So
yeah, because I think also you had in that race, you had Ronnie Corey and Henke Gustafsson as well in that race. And of course, they were all good trappers as well back then as well. So you had it all against you really from heat 1 from your first race.
That was like a thermonuclear warhead coming off gate 4.
Yeah, once you got that sort of bit between your teeth, you were gone, sort of thing.
In fact, when I first got to the track, was on the Thursday night, and we actually went and found the track. We got to Wrocław, and then we went and found the track. And the gates were open, so I just walked in and had a look at the track and that. And I looked at gate 4 right against the fence, and I was like, "Ooh, maybe gate 4 heat 2 not gonna be so bad." And that's what it turned out like.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I've got a clip which I'm going to try for the first time of I think it was like your second race. If it works, I'll just wait for it to load.
Is that the one with the crash?
Yeah, that's the one with the crash.
Okay, yeah. Before the crash or after the crash?
I think I've got it from when the crash sort of happened anyway. So I was going to try and see if it works. Just bear with me. I might. There you go. I think it's working now. Oh, hang on, it's been a bit slow. But we'll keep talking until it loads up. But
no problem. Yeah.
Obviously, that was just before the rain came. If I remember watching the meeting, did that sort of shake you up then at all? That crash?
Well, it did, yeah. Because what happened was. Forget about the rain because the track was still all right by this point. I was off gate. I was 2 off 3, I can't remember. But I missed it because 1, 2, and 3 was slick. Missed it and turned back on the first corner. And I think as I turned back, I think there was Jimmy Nielsen, and then on the outside of him was the Poole, Drabic, and what happened was I'd come back to the inside zone, and effectively I was third. And Drabic was trying to go around Jimmy on the first and second corners. And Jimmy's like running him out and out and out, trying to stop him. And I think what's happened is Jimmy hasn't stopped him, and because it's the world final, the boss just kept it on. Yeah. Jimmy's like running into the fence. As I'm coming out of turn 2, I've seen him at the fence, like slightly ahead of me. Next thing, his bike's done like a 180, spun around, started coming across the track, and I was like, "Whoa!" Next thing, his bike slammed into my leg. Yeah, like smashed the inside of my knee against the head. The head where where the green plate is.
Yeah.
Little green GM thing. Smashed the inside of my knee onto the head there. Yeah. And, honestly, the pain I was in was a bit unbelievable. If you see, I go around and fall off the bike. It was like, honestly, God, I thought I'd broke my leg. That was the first thing. I broke my leg. So I was on the floor, and they were like, "Take your Kevlar off." I was like, "No chance, not to no." I was like, "Just give me a minute." it just started easing a tiny bit, and then it was easing a tiny bit. Like, oh, hopefully it's just like a fucking bad dead leg. And like, about 10 minutes, I got up and like, so by now it's hiking down with rain. And I've limped back over to my thing, and I was like, fuck that hurts. I've got on my bike and pressed that. As soon as I pressed into the footrest, the pain wasn't too bad. It was sort of just like a dull ache. It wasn't like a whoosh or anything like that. So as soon as I got my bike pressed on my footrest, I was like, yeah, I'll be good. I can ride. And then that's when the big high will come down.
Yeah, exactly.
We had to wait an hour and a half.
Which probably did you a lot of good, to be honest.
Did an amazing job, though. Well, everybody says that, but to be honest, I honestly, I don't think it would have made any difference, because that was adrenaline coursing through my body at the time from being the world final and then having a crash with that I think I would have been absolutely fine and just get on and go, you know. The bike was all right because I didn't come off it. I just got a bit of a wobble on you. If you see, you watch it in slow motion, you watch Jimmy hits him, crashes him against the fence, and then Jimmy gets out of the way, and then his bike bounces off the fence and comes across. And you see him, it's just like a little down the bottom of that. And that was what it was. His bike hitting me and slashing my leg against my own engine.
Yeah. Because I think it. Yeah, well, wasn't it when you? Cause obviously on the video, isn't it? You see that you come off the bike and you're actually on the home straight sort of thing. So.
Yeah, because I got round to turns where 3 and 4. I just sort of pulled over. I mean, mechanics coming around. I was like, what? Fuck my leg. It's like I broke my leg. Like lifted me off, laid me on the ground.
Yeah.
And that's when I like waited and just started rubbing it and getting it fucking like rubbed around it. And then I thought, okay, I'm like, it's just a fucking dead knee or something, you know.
Yeah.
One of them impact things that hurts like hell, but doesn't really hinder you in any way. No. And thank God, that's what it was.
Yeah.
And maybe the break did me good. Maybe it didn't. We'll never know.
No, we never know. But either way, it was still nice to get that sort of that out of the way, have that long break, and all of a sudden reel off some more wins and win the championship.
Oh God, absolutely, yeah. You know, I mean, it's hard to think of a nicer position. Maybe Sam Emelianenko in '93. Just being a nicer position going into the last ride of only needing a second to win it, and even a third could possibly still win it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But there's no way I was going out there. There's no way I was going out there to get a fucking second. You know what I mean?
No.
It wasn't happening. So yeah, it was lovely. You know what? I see that. I look at that last race back, and they show it from the front.
Yeah.
Like front on from the tapes, the clip on YouTube, and honestly, I think that's the best start I've ever made in my life. Because I think statistically 2 was the worst gate, right? The pressure was rather large, and you can see. Normally, you can't see from the front who's made the start. Normally, you've got to be sideways, don't you?
Yeah.
It needs to be somewhere near the corner so you see who's made the start. But you could actually see. You could actually see my arm go. And I was like, yeah, I think that's the best one. Because I nearly spewed in my helmet before the last ride, like.
Oh, right.
Before I went out, like waiting in the pit, in the pits with my helmet on, and like the tractors are going on or whatever, and I'm waiting to go around, and like I got my fucking dad screaming in one ear. I've got Neil Erickson was fucking after the end, dad screaming in the other ear. I mean, mechanic was nailed down. He could hardly put the fucking fuel tops on. He was shaking that much, and everything started going all whooshing in my head. I was like, oh, fucking hell.
Yeah.
Everyone was like fucking pit scared. They opened it, I got pumped off, and like trying to give myself a proverbial slap round chops, and I was away. But yeah, nearly spewed in me inside my helmet. Well, waiting to go. Imagine
that. Yeah, famous for a different reason. But, so is that the World Championship one behind you then, the glass one then, or is that a different trophy?
It is. Yes, it is. That's it. I would bring it up and show you, but it's all crystal glass.
Yeah, well, I wouldn't want you to bring it over.
Right, so it's 2-piece, so it's like a base, and that ball top comes off.
Oh, very nice.
And if you can see halfway in the base, there's something in there. That's the piston that was inside my engine. That's the piston that was inside my engine when I won.
That's cool.
Neil took it out and got it engraved for me, so it lives in there. Yeah, it's beautiful, beautiful thing. Weighs about probably about 10 kilos, something like that.
Yeah,
really heavy.
Jeez, it's a nice trophy to have.
Yeah,
you know.
Oh, it's a beauty. Yeah. The one. Oh, I've gone now. Oh, hang on. Oh, what's going on? Hey, still there. Why am I there? Can you say me and hear me?
I can hear you,
Can
but I
you
can't
see me
see
and
you.
hear
I
me?
can't see you.
Right. Why? Oh, what's going on here? Share screen. I don't know what's going on. To be honest.
That's it, you back.
Yeah.
Yeah, good.
Yeah. Yeah, that's that one. Yeah. That gold one you see, that small dustbin you can see there.
Yeah.
I won that one. That was the Golden Gala in Italy.
Oh, okay.
They always used to give really cool Lomingo.
Mm.
Yeah, I won a gold steel show as well.
Yeah, because I had
Solid gold steel show. It's an awesome thing.
yeah, I had Jeremy Doncaster come on to do a second part in the last episode on here, and he won the Golden Gala as well, and he showed me his steel shoe that he won. Yeah, it's
wicked.
To me,
he won the golden helmet as well, didn't he? Didn't he win the golden helmet?
He won it twice. Yeah, he won it twice. So and that
he won
also
the golden helmet twice.
Yeah, he won it twice. He's the only English rider to win it back to back.
Right.
So
did he only win the golden gala once?
I think so. Yeah, I think so.
Right, okay, yeah. I didn't even know they gave out a freaking gold steel shoe. I'd done the deal with that. I can't remember who it was. I don't know, it might have been from Mando or something. They've done the deal like it's X amount per point and this, that, and the other. And when you get there, you don't even have to think about it's got to be a decent trophy because it always is in Italy. They always have brilliant trophies. So I'm out on parade with my Canada. I was like, fucking hell, that's a nice one, that big gold dustbin. We should have that. And he was like, yeah. Anyway, when I won it, and I went and get me money, I got like the trophy and give me and the money and that, and then the gold steel shoe. I was like, oh, wicked.
Nice, yeah.
Happy days.
Yeah. So when did you win that?
Gold was an all-time high. Well, yeah, I win that. I think it was something like 1990.
Oh, okay.
90 or 91, I think.
Yeah.
I think you'd have to look it up.
I'll have to look it up. Yeah. But no, it's nice to see because trying to get riders now to show a bit of their trophies and things like that. It's great to see.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, I reckon so. I mean, I only have. To be honest, I have a few more out now. But before, before I split up with my missus, I was like, cut in everywhere. Soon fucking got rid of it. Like, right, get some trophies out now. Put a few out on it, But I don't have loads. But most are in boxes in my loft, or in boxes in my mum and dad's loft. My mum has a lot.
Yeah, okay,
she has them all out on show.
Yeah.
She has all the silver ones, bless her. The ones that need polishing regularly.
Yeah. Oh, so you done well there, didn't you?
Method to the madness, son.
Yeah, exactly. But unfortunately, the clip I'm trying to load up isn't working. But moving on a bit to 1993. Obviously, world champion and everything. You appeared in Question of Sport, if I remember rightly, in '92.
Yeah,
I bet that was a very much a good experience.
Yeah, it was. It was a great laugh. We went in there. The film, I don't know about now, but back then they filmed 2 or 3 shows on the same day.
Mm.
So what they'd have sort of green room sort of thing set up, with all like food and drink and everything. Yeah. So all the contestants from all the shows and everyone, and you told you to get there at a certain amount of time. It was like 2 hours before filming started, or an hour and a half or something. You could just help yourself, and they sort of encourage you to, like, oh, if you want to have an alcoholic drink, don't worry about it. About 3 pints, mate. just a nice, the confident buzz of alcohol.
Yeah.
That was brilliant. Some of the names I was on with, God, real superstars. It was good. And the good thing was that I just remember back then in Question of Sport, they had it went to every contestant, and you could have a question. You could go home or away.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
And so I thought, well, like, first thing I need to find out who'd asked for the questions, because I don't want to look like a dump. So anyway, luckily enough, they contacted a really good friend of mine, Mr. Phil Lanning.
Oh yes.
To do the questions. So he did a set for them, and he also did a set for me. So, because I didn't want to be honest, I knew nearly every one of them anyway, but I just didn't want to look like a dummy. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
so go home and can't even answer the home question. It look like a right tree boy, wouldn't you? You know what I mean?
Yeah. But no, it must have been good because obviously then, like you said earlier on, it wasn't a great time for British Speedway financially and things like that. But it must have raised the profile a little bit, because obviously again, world champions.
I think it did, but it was through no effort of the BSPA. It was all they kept going on about for years. Oh, if we already had a British world champion, we'd have stadiums full again, this, that, and the other. And that's why when I won it, I said, this is a big Speedway, you know. It's like, let's hope that now the base PA think we've got a world champion, we've got somebody we can push as a go out and be a poster boy. Pump a lot of, you know, P&R, PR stuff like that into him, and we'll try and raise the profile of the base PA. Did zilch, nothing, zero.
Yeah.
Everything we did was like my friend Phil Lanning, who was sort of being a bit of a manager at the time to me. It was all done through me and him. We did the GQ magazine. We done quite a few radio things. We did Question Sport. And there was a couple of others. We did a fifth gear one.
Oh, did Racing did fifth gear? Didn't that at all?
It was quite a few years later though.
Oh, okay.
In the 2000s. We had to all race on these off-road machines. I had to fucking race. I had to ride a freaking one of them things with the handles. What's it called? The big wheels, the yank things.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean?
I think I know what you mean. Yeah, but I can't think of the name either. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah.
Yeah.
It was really weird, and it was really slow. So I kept cutting the course off, and I cut the corner off, trying to catch them all, and hit a rut and fell off. Segway.
Yeah, so yes, the Segways. That's it. Yes, that's it. Yeah. But
I was really paid off that. I got put that anyway.
Yeah, but no, it's
all stuff. We did a lot of stuff. Go on.
Yeah, so it's good to hear that sort of thing because again, the only person I knew who did fifth gear was old Crumpy when he raced at Kirky Lane again in the car and that sort of thing.
Against the car.
Yeah, but
no, I did one.
Yeah, well, that's good to know.
I did a lot of things. I did a lot of things back in the day, but like, you know, it was all stuff that we organised. We got off our asses and went and knocked on doors and made phone calls and stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The base player did nothing.
Yeah.
It was like, you know, surely if any time in the last 15 years when the cars have been on decline, you know, just add a world champion. You know what I mean? Now we've got a world champion. Let's publicise him. Let's promote him.
Yeah.
And let's use him. Let's use him to put some more people back in our stadiums.
Yeah. No. I mean, even with when Ty won the World Championship, I think they then realised that they could put him on a pedestal sort of thing and try and do things like that.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, because I don't know about the lads from this days. I mean, the lads from these days, they're the type of lads who just slightly turn around and say, "No, you don't do that for me." But then I was so proud and so of being British. I wanted British Speedway to be successful. So the BSPA could have fucking given me a weekly schedule of stuff that I had to go and do. I'd have done it, no problem at all.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, it's just a shame that they didn't, as I say, they didn't just capitalise on it at all. You know, really, just to sort of push it. I think Eric Brucock said something similar like that during that sort of period. You know, he said the same sort of thing was like, you know, Gary's world champion. Why not just put him out there? You know, he's willing to do it. We'll just give him the chance, sort of thing. And of course, around that sort of time, Eric was team manager, wasn't he? So of England team manager.
Yeah, he was. Yeah, he was. Yeah.
And again, also yourself was England captain. So you're England captain at the time as well. So you had everything going for you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely. But
there you go. It's one of those things.
Shit happens.
yeah. We can look back at it now and say what they should have done, but at the time, you know, they just didn't do what they should have done. But
no.
But anyway, Gary, we must come to an end tonight. I know we had a few technical issues tonight, but
perfect.
We'll definitely do a part 2. We'll schedule that.
Now we know what we're doing. We'll schedule it in, and you'll keep me informed. Like before, I'll make sure the iPad's 100% charged, and we'll just be able to go straight through then.
Yeah, exactly. But cheers for tonight, mate.
So watch this space, people. This is just part 1.
Yeah, this is part 1.
For part 2. When we reveal all the juicy bits.
Yeah, there's a lot more to come. I've got a good feeling about that. But
perfect.
Thanks everyone for watching tonight. If you want to like the group, follow the group, you know, everything, you'll be able to hear this on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and it'll be on YouTube as well. But thanks for tonight, Gary.
If you send me the links to that stuff now.
Of course I will, mate. Of course I will.
I've got a lot of followers on Twitter.
Yeah, I'll put it all out there and I'll tag you and everything, so it'll be good, mate. Okay, then, so here's the part 2 then.
Absolutely.
Cheers, mate.